Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Women Locked Up Before and After. It's actually these people who are listening on the phone calls that are made in prison. Like if you're locked up and you're making a phone call to one of your loved ones or drug deal, anything that you don't want nobody to hear, well, they hear everything. Everybody thinks they don't, but they hear every single thing that you talk about. So, and I have proof of that by what I'm about to tell you. So listen in, because this gets pretty interesting. Okay, these people literally sit down with the warden of the person who listens in on all these phone calls, and I have 6 different things. There's number 6. Prison phone calls are a for-profit business. Okay. This person says, the gist of my job involved setting prisoners up to make their prison phone calls with the outside world and then listening in on all the catty prison gossip. The company I worked for changed hands to Verizon Business for about a month during my tenure. Then it wound up owned by Global Tel Link. Y'all remember that? This is Global Tel Link. I hated that. So it was Verizon before that. I didn't know that. New thing. Learn something new every day. But when I started, it was MCI. So, I think I remember MCI like long time ago. The only reason I bring that up is to point out that services like mine aren't run by government or through the prison system. Big old corporations handle the work and their primary concern is making a profit. Hence, off of main jobs was making sure nobody dared to try a three-way call. Three-way calls, we all know about that. We know what happens when you try to make a three-way call. It don't work out that way. If you don't keep, when you make you can make a three-way call, but if you stay silent while you're waiting on that person to answer, it will hang up. If you keep talking while you're trying to make a three-way call, while it's ringing or whatever, or if it's silent, whatever, you keep talking like you're on the phone, even if you're like you're talking to yourself or whatever, just talk, because any silence will hang it up, because it will pick up the three-way call. It will know that you're doing it. I remember that. I had to do that for a friend of mine a long time ago. Okay, not because phone shenanigans, including three-way calls, can and have led to actual prison escapes, but just because it cheated my employers out of like 20 cents. Okay, here are the basic rules for prison calls. When I started in 2006, one of the phones had to be a landline. Each prisoner was allowed 10 people on his call list. Remember that? Before, it could not be cell phones, but now they changed. They changed that it says 2006. It changed. Well, it had to be landline in 2006. Okay, and if you wanted to be added to a list, you had to mail the prisoner directly and wait for her to approve you. And that's not how. Well, you can tell them on the phone, and it's a whole thing now. I mean, now is a whole different thing. Back then, like I just told you, that's how it was back then. We all know how it is now. I mean, if you've been locked up, there's cell phones around. But anyway, also they pay for the privilege of calling out of prison. Hence, why I worked for Verizon. Is what they said. It says, you are allowed 10 people on the call list still. It's only 10. I don't know what it is anywhere else, but it says right here there are 10 people on their call list. It's only allowed 10 on their list. The job was sold to me as a cushy gig. I was told I wouldn't even go behind the gate or see prisoners. When I toured the facility, it looked sweet. I'd make more money than I'd ever made, and I'd even have my own office, all for eavesdropping with occasional light data entry. Unfortunately, it turned out that everything I'd been told was a class Runsville lie. Number 5, you have to meet the prisoners you spy on and piss off face to face. Only a few days passed before they asked me, would you mind going out to inmate dorms to answer questions about the phone system? Now I had to meet dangerous criminals face to face. Sometimes after shooting down their requested phone contacts. Oh, hey, convicted criminal, I listen to everything you say, some of it possibly meant to be secret. Here's my face, my name, my place of employment. Oh, here's my car, too. I've included a list of my deepest fears and allergies on the back, just for funsies. I had one chick send me 8 different numbers in 8 different states for her husband. I had to deny her because none were a landline. Later that day, I was listening to calls and heard her going on and on about the phone. She kept saying she was going to find me at the prison and make me add the numbers. And shows a shank on the picture. Anyway, luckily the prison system doesn't take math-based threats lightly. They gave me a personal body alarm, or PBA, to carry with me. It was a black rectangular box with a belt clip and a single white button. Should anything happen, I just press the button and hopefully guards would come to my aid before I caught a sharpened tooth brushed to the gallbladder. Thankfully, I never had to use it. To this day, the only person to force me to add anything was Count Von Count from Sesame Street. Number 4. Number four starts off by saying part of your job is snitching. My job wasn't exclusively monitoring for illicit use of call waiting and whatnot. I did have to listen for possible criminal scheming, mostly about drugs. Drugs are a fact of life in every single prison on earth. Hello, don't we all know that? Drugs are okay, I said that. Prison guards seized nearly 3,000 grams of weed and 92 grams of cocaine alone between 2008 and 2009. And that's just the crap they caught. I ain't gonna say the other word. There are a few ways to pick out a drug call. Mostly it's just in the flow of conversation. Drug calls don't use normal sentences, and the participants talk in really short spurts. They're not Navajo code talkers or anything. They'll substitute some random word for whatever drug they're talking about. Cookies for weed was pretty common. I never heard of that one. Anyway, did you get those cookies I sent in? The last batch of cookies was really dry. I'm sorry. And I think it was laced with something, or if you don't find that missing batch of cookies, your whole family is dead. Wow. Once you walk the halls and realize your prison doesn't smell like the famous Amos Bakery, it's pretty obvious what's really going on. The prisoners have somehow found a way to bake cookies without the smell. Oh my god. This must be stopped, it says. Number 3, sometimes it's unexpectedly heartwarming. This job wasn't all math threats and medical class caliber criminal intrigue. They use all these long words, and anyway, I got a call from a mother once, right after her daughter was put into the county jail. She hadn't spoken to her daughter in years, and she needed to know how to get in touch with her. So I walked her through the process. She was a bit clueless. She was clueless of technology. It was like an extremely high stakes version of. It was an extremely high stakes version. version of helping your parents fix their computer over Thanksgiving. I helped the mother set up a landline, got the request letter to the daughter, approved the contact, and after a week finally saw on the log that her daughter had called. A few weeks later, I saw the daughter on one of my trips to the jail. She thanked me for effortlessly for helping, and that Christmas her mom sent me a thank you card. Apparently, they just spent the whole first call sobbing to each other. It was the first time they'd talked in years. Oh, isn't that a hallmark moment? Like, it's kind of messed up. One of those cards you find in the clearance rack, for sure, but still sweet in its own way. You got to hold on to the good stuff because, well, number two, it can be deeply sad and or creepy. I picked up stalkers like a stair car picks up hop-ons. Once this guy called up about contacting his convict girlfriend. Oh Lord, this is gonna be good. He very quickly connected the dots. She couldn't wait and figured out that his girlfriend was in prison. She couldn't catch him cheating. He then abandoned that and all other forms of logic and proceeded to hit on the one girl who can actually contact his girlfriend. Me. Not me. This is who we're talking about right here. Even though I wasn't, but he wouldn't let up. He kept calling and calling. I eventually wound up having to get an escort from the prison. Seriously, dude, you want one girlfriend in prison and another working at the prison? What kind of bizarre fetish is having you try to hook up at that unlikely three-way? Then there were the more pedestrian tragedies. People clearly cheating on their imprisoned spouses. Relationships falling apart. I wound up listening to a lot of women string sugar daddies along, getting them to send over money so they could buy things at the prison commissary. The thing that got me the most was the young and prison girls calling their moms around Christmas, reminiscing about holidays past and knowing they wouldn't spend another one together for a long time. It was awful. They're in a stupid drug charge surrounded by all these hardened criminals away from their family. Oh God, there's a sympathy of tiny violins playing. Let's change the subject to the elephant in the room with his long tumescent trunk throbbing with want. Oh God. Here's number one. You listen in on a lot of bizarre phone sex. Obviously, phone sex was extremely common. I'd say 40% of the calls had a sexual element to them. The phone sex in this case was especially strange because our prisoners weren't allowed to have any kind of sexual contact. But if their significant other wanted to do their half of the phone sex, well, that's not against the rules. That led to bizarre calls where one party was very intentionally not saying anything sexual, while the other blatantly I'm not going to say that, the receiver, whatever, I'm not even going to, oh no. It's like dirty talking to your accountant while she's patiently does your taxes. Oh my God. Also, you only get 15 minutes, so if you spend too much time on one-sided foreplay, your call could cut off right in the middle of the act. Wow. And you could have long distance, you know what? You already know what I'm going to say. Blue. Oh my gosh, this is crazy. Sorry, y'all. Every once in a while, an inmate would tell the guy more explicit stuff, regardless of the consequences. Lots of talk about sexual encounters with other inmates in the shower and other such caged heat stereotypes. I suspected most of of it was made up, but it seemed to do the trick. If you picked up the next call, you'd usually hear that guy had deposited money into their commissary account so she could buy Twinkies. What have you, or what have you? You ever talked a dude off for a Hostess snack cake? That's the real prison, son. That's what it says on here. Oh me, that right there is just messed up. Anyway, I made the video mainly because I wanted people to see exactly how they really do listen in on phone calls and everything. It's really messed up. They have a certain person that does it, and there's another person that sits around pretty much, and is a witness. They have a witness. But anyway, I hope y'all enjoyed this video, and sorry it took longer than usual. I wanted to make it shorter this time, but at least I found out some things I didn't already know, and I'm glad. But anyway, hope y'all enjoyed. Please like, share, and subscribe, and peace, and love y'all. Bye.